Okay, well, hey everyone, welcome to our webinar today. If you're tuning in, make sure you turn off your audio, and that will help the rest of us a little bit. Hopefully you can see my screen, but I wanted to talk today a little bit about basically how to mine gold from your sphere of influence. And if there's a time when this is important, it's right now, because let me see here, I can get my camera going there too. If there's a time when this is important, it's right now. Have you ever seen a market or a world as crazy as what we're going through right now? This is insane. And never seen anything like this myself. And I tend to be optimistic. I feel like things are going to be fine. We're going to get through this. But we definitely need to be proactive on the real estate side of things to make sure that we don't get behind or miss anything. And one of the things I've noticed as I've interacted with a lot of agents are using this time to catch up on their Netflix binging. You know, we're quarantined in our houses, so what should we do? Watch Netflix? Maybe, I don't know. Probably a bad idea. I recommend that you use this time to build your business. And one of the best ways that you can build your business when you're sitting at home is to work your sphere of influence. So I want to talk about that a little bit today. And this isn't going to be a long webinar. It's going to be fairly quick, but I'm going to give you some practical ideas on what you can do to really build your business right now while we're sitting around in our houses. Some people are out showing homes, but so many people are kind of have a little nervous about that. So what do we do when we're at home? Well, let's focus on our sphere of influence, okay? So there's three key things that I would encourage you to do during this downtime, or this kind of a different time, this wobbly time in the market. Step number one is to build out your database. Step number two is to upload your database to Conversion or another CRM, okay? The CRM does basic automated follow-up, so it's invaluable to what you're doing. And then number three, set up a plan to contact everyone in your sphere of influence 40 times over the next year. And statistically, what they've shown is that if you will contact your database about 40 times per year, each individual, you will generate about one sale off of every 7 people who are in your database. Now, that doesn't mean 1 out of 7 of the people in your database is going to buy a home. But if you will contact your sphere of influence, that will generate about one sale off of every 7 people you have in your database. So it's just kind of a numbers thing. The people in your database may not buy a house, but people that they know will buy a house. So just to think of things statistically, about 3% of the population tends to be in the market for whatever the thing is that you happen to sell. So if you sell pencils and 100 people, probably 3 of them are looking to buy pencils today. If you sell toilet paper, well, actually, if you sell toilet paper, probably 97% of people are looking to buy that today. Bad example. If you sell tires, probably 3 people you would know, probably 3 of them are looking to buy tires today. So, and that's out of 100. Same thing with real estate. If you know 100 people, you probably know 3 people today who are ready to buy or sell a house. So it's so important that we stay top of mind with those people that we know. Isn't it the worst thing in the world is to maybe go to church, or you're having a cookout with some friends? Remember those back in the good old days when they used to actually be able to see your friends? One of the worst things is to hear a friend say, "Oh yeah, we just bought a house," and you're thinking, "What? What do you mean you bought a house? I'm a realtor. You didn't tell me you were looking to buy a house." And somehow you fell off of being top of mind with that person. And so, you hate to see a good friend on Facebook posting pictures of their new house, and you're like, "What do you mean you bought a new house? Why didn't you call me?" And then they're like, "Oh yeah, I forgot. You're a realtor too." Oh no. So you hate that. when someone you know within your sphere of influence ends up buying a house from someone else. That's the worst. So you've got to somehow make sure you work your sphere of influence so that you're at the top of mind when they are ready to buy. Okay, so the three-part plan is to build out your database, upload your database to Conversion or some other CRM, and then set up a plan to contact everyone in your sphere about 40 times per year. Now, I know some of you, you read that and you're already stressed out. You're thinking, 40 times per year? Oh my gosh, they're going to think I am the craziest person on the planet. They're going to think I'm the most aggressive car salesman around. And you're already panicking. And I would say, don't worry, don't panic. Well, we've got a plan for that that's not going to be obtrusive, okay? So, but we'll get to that. But step one is to build out your database. And I'm a big fan of making sure that I build out a database. I started understanding a database, understanding having a database many years ago, probably 30 years ago, when I was a youth pastor. and so what I learned when I was a youth pastor was however many names of teenagers that I had on my list, about half that number would show up at my event. So, you know, I was trying to build a big ministry and with young people. And so when I say a big ministry, when I started out, we had like 6 kids in our youth group. And but I had 12 kids in my database, right? And I had it on a little 3x5 card, and I carried it in my pocket always. I had 12 kids in my database, had all 12 of them on a little index card. And every time we'd have an event, I'd call all 12 of them, and 6 of them would show up. So I learned it through ministry, you know, following up with people. Then I eventually became a pastor, and I realized about however many people were on the database, about half of them would show up at our events, and in particular at church. So I worked to build our database so we could reach more people. Then suddenly I became a realtor, and I realized it's the same thing. Building out that database is a crucial part of building your business. And so, you know, I learned it by doing ministry. And talk about difficult sales. Ministry is a hard sell. I don't know if you've ever tried to sell something invisible like God. You're trying to help people understand God, but you know they can't see God, so you're trying to sell this. That's a difficult approach. And so you're trying to help people say, you know, you're telling people, hey, you shouldn't have sex outside of marriage. That's a tough sell. Okay. So I learned how to reach people through ministry, but then now I apply it to our business, which is a lot easier, to be honest with you. So, so what I would recommend to you is that you plan to build out a database to at least 1,000 people. Okay. And some of you are probably looking at that and thinking, oh my gosh, I don't know if I can, I don't think I know 1,000 people. And I would say, well, okay, start with 100, but try to set up a plan to get to 1,000 as soon as you can. And take a year maybe to get to 1,000, but plan to build a database to at least 1,000 people, okay? And if you do this, you will be so busy, you won't be able to keep up with the business, and you'll have to form a team just to keep up with the business that you have. So set up a list of 1,000 people. Now, start out by, I would recommend starting out by putting together a spreadsheet, an Excel spreadsheet, and use this as your list, okay? And start to think of everyone that you know in every category of your life. And one of the quickest ways to do that is to start with Facebook, okay? So go through every contact that you have on Facebook and set them up in lists on Facebook so that, and that will be in particular for your sphere of influence work on Facebook, okay? So take your list of people, and some of you might have, you know, maybe you have 100 friends on Facebook. Some of you have 20 friends. Some of you don't have a Facebook account. Okay. Very difficult to build a business in this world today without a Facebook account. So make sure you get that set up right away, and then start working it, start building it up. Now, I don't use Facebook to cram real estate down people's throats. I use Facebook just to connect with people on a general level. I think of it as a form of entertainment. So I'll put entertaining things on my Facebook wall, silly memes and crazy stuff, silly cat videos. And then about 3 times a week, I'll sprinkle it with real estate stuff. So I don't cram it down their throats, but I do work to build a big Facebook crowd so that I can have contacts, have a lot of people in my sphere of influence. And that's all it is the sphere of influence. So right now I've got over 4,500 connections on Facebook, and LinkedIn is another one. And LinkedIn, I've got like 10,000 connections on LinkedIn. So you want to keep building your list. And then on Facebook, then once you have all these connections, you can go in and create a list on Facebook. You can segment all your connections on Facebook by lists. Okay, and this is very important. So this is so important. As a matter of fact, I'm going to put a link in the margin to all these things, a link to how to set up a Facebook list through list of your contacts in Facebook. So I'm going to put a link out there in the margin on our Facebook page as soon as we're done with this webinar. So so go through your contacts. If you only have 100 or 200 or 300 connections on Facebook, I would encourage you to start building that out a little bit, okay? And it's definitely best if you're thinking long game. You're thinking over the next 5 years, building out your connection, your database. Facebook's a great way to start, and you can start warming up relationships that were from the past that you want to kind of revisit now. So, I started doing this years ago, and just connecting with people that I went to kindergarten with. Yeah, and so I literally had someone that I went to school with up through like 3rd grade. Hadn't seen him since 3rd grade, and he contacted me last year. He said, "Hey, Chris, I know you're doing real estate. Do you happen to work the Kentucky market?" And I was like, "Yeah." He said, "Well, my son is trying to sell a house in Kentucky. Do you think you could help him out?" I thought, as a matter of fact, I can. So that's how that sphere of influence thing works. So don't be afraid to connect with people, as many people as you can. In particular, you do want to try to be thinking of people who could potentially be a real estate client at some point. And and then once you have them as a Facebook connection, I would have a segmented list in Facebook that's your sphere of influence, okay? So then you can get to them quicker and track with them a little bit easier. So the third thing is then once you have this big database in Facebook, you can export that database from Facebook into a spreadsheet and then pull out the contacts who are potential customers or referral sources, okay? Now, it's not easy to export a database from Facebook into a CSV file or a Excel file. So I'm also going to put a link out on our Facebook page that tells how to extract your contacts and put them into a spreadsheet. So, but that's definitely an important step. So if you're trying to get to 1,000 connections, I would definitely be working through Facebook, through LinkedIn, and then export those databases into the spreadsheet that you're getting ready to put together. And then think through all other contacts you have on the planet. Take time. I would take a whole day to think this through, to brainstorm, and keep this list going on your computer. Spend a week just thinking of who else do you know, who else do you know, who else do you know. And so some of the ideas for this are past clients. That's number one. We do so badly at staying up with our past clients. So make sure you go back through and look at every deal that you've done and pull those people together in a database so that you can stay in touch with those people. So you have past clients, Facebook connections, LinkedIn connections. If you don't have a strong LinkedIn profile, gosh, you got to build that out right away, because people are looking for, who are you as an agent? They want to know that you know what you're doing. They want to know that you're connected with social media. If you're not connected with social media, how in the world are you going to help them sell their house, right? So that's what they're thinking. So you definitely have to make preparations for that and build out a solid LinkedIn profile, Facebook profile, any other social media connections you have. Maybe you're on Instagram or Snapchat or whatever it might be. Just pull together, look through all your contacts, and pull all these people into a database. And friends, what other friends do you have that you can think of that you can put into this database? Neighbors, family, put all your family in there. School contacts, maybe people that you went to school with, or maybe people that your kids go to school with, maybe their parents or families, anyone that you can connect with. Maybe you've seen them at on field trips with your kids, maybe other ways, PTA or whatever it might be, or teachers. Think about all your kids' teachers that they've had and throw them into your database. Former coworkers, or maybe current coworkers. Some of you are bivocational. You have a current job, and so who do you work with, or who have you worked with? Who can you throw into this database? Medical contacts, doctors, dentists, people that you know through the medical field, insurance agents. Who have you worked with in insurance? If you've bought insurance from people, then they can at least hear from you occasionally about real estate. Attorneys, who have you been sued by? Just kidding. But attorneys, do you know any attorneys out there who might be able to send you business? I did just an example. I did a referral, or I did a flat fee listing recently for a couple that was going through a divorce, and I hate that. I hate divorce, but it does happen, and sometimes there we are. We're kind of in the middle of it. And this client loved the flat fee listing approach so much, she told her attorney about it. And now her attorney is referring Plumtree to all her clients because it's a great way. It's great for divorce. They can liquidate the property, minimal expense, and it's kind of an easy, clean thing. So, so do you know attorneys? Maybe you should start getting to know attorneys. And investors, have you connected with investors? One of the things I've done is I've connected with hundreds and hundreds of investors through LinkedIn. And so that's become a revenue stream. Kids sports teams. Have your kids ever done soccer, baseball, t-ball? Any parents or families that you've met through these things, get them on your list. Church. I tend to be careful not to, just take a church database and send it out to the whole church, but you've probably built friendships through church, right? And so those people who are truly friends, who consider you to be a friend of theirs, feel free to throw them on your list. Volunteer organizations. Some of you volunteer for various things, and that's terrific. Add them to your list if you know people through that. Maybe you work out. If you know people from your gym, trainers or people that you can connect with. Pool memberships, maybe you hang out at the pool a lot, and maybe you know people through that. Clubs, maybe you're in some kind of club or organization, add them to your database. Now think about this, like bank tellers or restaurant servers, or just people that you come into contact with regularly. Get their contact information, build a relationship, add them to your list. So what I would say is, you want to start out with everyone that you currently know. You probably know hundreds and hundreds of people, but you don't even think about it. So get them organized, get them onto a list. And then once you have your list ready and it's in place, then you need to keep building that list. Do you want to be someone who's selling 100 homes per year? Well, keep building that list. And I would recommend that you work to add 10 people to your database every week, okay? Add 10 to your database every week, about 2 a day. And so if you're adding 2 a day, I mean, you could be sending connection requests through LinkedIn, you could be sending connection requests through Facebook. Maybe you go to the store, and maybe you're going to Starbucks, and you're talking to someone trying to think, is Starbucks an essential business? Not sure. Uh, at certain times of the year, it definitely is essential. But so those people that you talk to, maybe you can strike up a conversation, and they're looking for maybe they're looking for a home, and you can add them to your database. That's, by the way, and I'm not doing it today, but I normally I'm wearing logo gear all the time. I've got a shirt with my logo on it, and that's one way. Sometimes I don't have to strike up the conversation. I'm just at a store wearing a Plumtree shirt, and people ask me, "Oh, you're in real estate. Hey, so what do you think about the market?" And I'll guarantee you something. Over the next several months, people are going to be really interested in what you think about the market. So you position yourself as an expert in real estate over the next several months. So you've got your database together. The next step is to upload uh, your database to Conversion CRM. And just a pro tip, after you create your database, you've got this spreadsheet, you can email that to support, Conversion Tech Support, and then they'll upload it for you. And I would make sure you have this as part of your sphere of influence. Make sure this database is segmented, so you're keeping track of this as your sphere of influence database. Then I would set up a custom drip email campaign for your sphere of influence. A drip email campaign is an email that goes out to your sphere of influence, or whoever you have it set up to go out to. It goes on at intervals. So maybe you'll have one that's the first week, a certain email, and then now with your sphere of influence, you don't want to drive them crazy, okay? You don't want to be contact them all the time, and they're like, yeah, I get it, you're a realtor. So what I would recommend with your a drip email campaign for a sphere of influence would be maybe to send them an email every 2 or 3 months, and then maybe a text message every 2 or 3 months. Doesn't have to be much, just general occasional contacts through your drip. So you set up the drip ahead of time. Maybe it's a 2 or 5 year drip, and let's say every 6 months it sends a text message out and says, "Hey, just thought I'd check in with you. How's everything going? By the way, if you know of anyone looking to buy or sell real estate, make sure you send them my way." So but that's just one idea. Lots of different approaches you can have, but create a custom drip so that it comes in your wording, sounds like you, and it's your personality. So, and then use the CRM technology for texting, emailing, and staying in touch with your sphere of influence. Okay, so that's one of the things, is to use your CRM for that. The next thing I would say, this moves us to point number 3, which is the most important point, is to make contact with your sphere of influence 40 times throughout the year. 40 times, okay? Now, when I first heard this, I was like, yeah, I'm not going to do that. Yeah, forget that. I'm not a pushy salesperson. Forget that. There's no way I'm going to contact people 40 times. But then when I started learning about this approach, I realized there's a lot of ways you can do it without being really just slamming it in their faces, pushy salesman. As a matter of fact, most of it's just serving. It isn't asking them for business. It's helping them, uh, educating people on the real estate market. So the first thing I would recommend that you do is to set up a neighborhood market update for your friends. Anyone in your database, I would offer for them to have a neighborhood market update. And what I would say to them is, hey, the times are getting kind of rough, um, or unstable. Now, I wouldn't strike fear or panic with them, but I would say, hey, it's kind of crazy times, and let me know if you would like me to set you up for a market update so you can keep track of real estate prices in your neighborhood. So, so then what you do, you find someone that's open to say, yeah, sure, send me updates to the market. The first thing I would do is I would send them a NARPR report, NARRPR. We've got a video on how to do that, but basically you go to narrpr.com, and then you create a 25-page marketing or market valuation report for them. And then you can, once you have that, you email it to them, and then you say, hey, by the way, if you want, I can keep you up to date on the market in your neighborhood. So anytime someone lists a house, it'll email you so you be aware of it. You get pictures of your neighbor's house, so you kind of get an idea of what they have, how it compares to what you have. You can be that nosy neighbor. And then when their house sells, you'll have a sense for how long it took for them to sell it and how much they got for it. Most of us who are homeowners, we'd find that to be pretty helpful information. So, and you can set it up. Now you can set the timer on it as much as you want, but maybe a weekly update or twice a month. I would definitely do it at least twice a month, but maybe even weekly. And just that alone, if you're looking to have 40 contacts with your sphere of influence per year, that alone is 52 times. Okay. So, and if you do it twice a month, then that's 26 times. So once a month would be 12 times. But I think you see what I'm saying is it's not too hard to get the 40 contacts when you do it this way. I would also recommend that quarterly you check in with everyone in your sphere of influence. So I would set time aside. And when I say checking in, a text message could work. And this can be automated through Conversion where it sends them a text message. But just check in, hey, just check in, see if there's anything, if you know anyone looking to buy or sell, or even just checking in. Right now is a really important time to check in with your sphere of influence. Right now, I would do a care call or at least a text message to every one of your clients individually. I wouldn't. I wouldn't be looking to. Let me see. Looks like someone's got their thing. Here we go. I wouldn't be looking to. Um, I wouldn't be looking to sell anything right now. Like I wouldn't call people and say, "Hey, you want to buy or sell a house? Hey, I need money. Can you bring me your business?" That wouldn't be the approach I would take. What I would say would be, "Hey, I wanted to check in. Crazy times. Want to make sure you're okay. See if you need anything." That's it. It's just do a care call right now to let your clients know you really care about them. Okay. So check in with people. Now's a great time to do that. And then monthly Facebook contact. I would make plans to contact every one of your friends who are in your sphere of influence every month. Okay. And one of the easiest ways you can do this is by setting up your Facebook contacts in lists. Set them up so you have a sphere of influence list, and then you um, go through your Facebook, like just look at that sphere of influence list on Facebook, separate it out, and then go through and look at all of those contacts, and then start uh, touching base with them, start checking in with them, and so make contact with all of them about once a month. And and I'm going to go into that a little bit further in the next slide. But that's just another way to get 12 contacts per year. Another thing is a bi-monthly fixer upper or news articles. So every couple months, maybe about 6 times a year, I would send out an email or even a text to everyone in your sphere of influence. I'd find an article that's maybe a fixer upper idea. Hey, here's some remodeling tips for your kitchen. Here's how to make your bathrooms look better. Here's what to look for with your landscaping. Here's how to make sure that your air conditioning and furnace are working properly. Just some recommendations. You can easily find 6 articles per year and then send those out just to kind of, and you don't, the neat thing is you don't have to write the article. You just send them the article. Someone else wrote it, but you're sending it, so you are considered to be the expert because you sent the article. That's what's so easy about this. And then quarterly text messages. I would send out several times a year text message, just basically, again, the checking in, or maybe an article through text messaging or video. You can send those out as well. Facebook sponsored status updates. Okay, 52 times per year. This is if you do this about once a week. And I was talking to Bill Burris today. Not sure if you realize this, but your your Facebook posts only show up to a small number of people that are your connections. Only the people that comment on it most, and it's probably somewhere between 30 to 50 people actually see your post. So even if you have 1,000 or 3,000 friends, only about 50 of them are probably actually seeing your posts. So how do you get your post out there so more people see it? Well, one of the best ways you can do that is to upload. Remember, we pulled out this spreadsheet, this database. You can upload that then to Facebook, and then what you want to do is you have to do this through your a business page. Can't do this on your personal profile, but you set up a business page, and then you update your market or just update your status through your Facebook business page, and then you can boost the post or do a sponsored ad with your update that you just did, but you can make it so it only shows up on your segmented list that you sent to, that you uploaded through that spreadsheet. So um, hopefully that makes sense to you. I'm going to post a link about how to do that, or a couple links on the Facebook page about this, so that you can follow through how that works. But basically, you're creating a status update for your business page, so that, and then you're sponsoring it. It doesn't cost very much. You're sponsoring it so that it shows up on your friends' pages. Okay, so they'll actually, in other words, so they'll see your status updates through your Facebook page. So so that's another way where you can get another, if you do it just once a week, your friends are going to see about 52 posts per year. So you see, when you do it this way, 40 contacts per year isn't that hard. These are light touches, but it keeps you top of mind with your sphere of influence. So, um, so then let me see here. Got that. I want to make sure. Okay, neighborhood market updates. Okay, so this is what I would recommend communicating somehow to your sphere of influence. When you call them to check in, hey, how's everything going? Or text them. And it doesn't even need to be directly related to that. It can be a follow-up communication. You can say something like, hey, with the possibility of a shifting market, I'd be happy to send you updates to your neighborhood that kind of keep you updated with the market. Specifically, I would use this wording: with the possibility of the market shifting, would you be interested in staying on top of the real estate activity in your neighborhood? And you may or may not want, it depends on how well you know people and where they're at in their life and everything. You may or may not want to do this specifically to people. We don't want to create a panic, because I don't really think there's a reason to panic. I actually think we're going to be fine, when the real estate market's going to be okay. But everyone's thinking about the real estate market right now, right? Everyone's a little unsettled with it. They're curious, they're concerned, they want to know that the market's going to be okay. If it's not, they want to know that, right? So you're right in the prime spot. I mean, you're the person that can really help them if they need to sell a property or if they want to buy properties. Maybe some people are thinking, well, man, the market might be a good time to buy. So um, so there's really three types of people: people who want to hold their property, or people who want to sell their property, or people who want to acquire properties. Anytime there's a bad market, which we don't know if it's going to be bad, but some people are worried about that. Even if it is a bad market, some people are going to hold, but some people are going to be selling, and some people are going to be buying. So you want to position yourself in the middle of that, so that you can help your sphere of influence to the maximum amount possible. So in light of this, one of the little tools that we created, actually, Abby, my daughter, she created a little graphic that you can put on your Facebook wall, or share this wherever you want to. You can email it out or text it to people. But it says market shifting, question mark, because we don't know. Let us know if you'd like to get market updates for your neighborhood. We can notify you anytime a home goes on the market. We can set up an MLS search that notifies you anytime a home in your neighborhood goes up for sale. You can look at the pictures and compare it to your own home, and then you will be notified when the home sells, so you can get a sense for how quickly things are selling. So that's all in this graphic. So this is a very light touch. You can throw this out on LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram. And so what's going to happen then, people will respond to this and say, yeah, I want to know. So you basically set them up as a contact in the MLS, and you can set them up for a map. I would do a Polygon map search, and just for their neighborhood. Obviously, you have to have their address to be able to do this. So I would set them up just for their neighborhood, and then make it so that anytime a house goes on the market or anytime a house sells, it emails them an update. And you can bunch these, you can batch these so that it only emails them once a week or once every other week or once every month, or whatever frequency they want. But I would recommend doing it about once a week so they can stay in tune with the market. If you do it too much, then eventually they'll unsubscribe. So you want to be measured with that. So we're going to throw this graphic out on the Facebook page so that you guys can use this and try to develop your own sphere of influence. And by the way, this would be an excellent sponsored ad that you might do to your sphere of influence. So another sphere of influence strategy is, we're talking about this as a Facebook 2020 strategy, which is perfect in the year 2020. But what I would recommend is going through, have social media time each day. And I would like about 20 sphere of influence posts per day. So I know this sounds like this isn't work, right? But but this is social media work. This is how you work social media. It's about the relationship. And have you ever noticed when you post something on Facebook, what do you pay attention to? You pay attention to who's liking your post, right? But that's what we want. We feel affirmed when people like our post. And you ever throw something out there and then nobody likes it? Oh, heartbreaker, right? So when you throw something out there and people like it, you notice who's liking your post. So I would recommend going through. This is valuable time. This is a soft touch, and it keeps people in mind of you. The other thing that it does, when you're liking people's posts and you're interacting with them, then they start to see your post. The more you interact with people, the more they start to see your post. So keeps you in front of them. So like about 20 posts per day, and then I would recommend make about 20 comments on social media posts each day with your sphere of influence. So make about 20 comments. This takes about 15 minutes to do this each day. It doesn't have to be much. You can, like, someone posts a cat video, you just type in hilarious, exclamation point. And so that's not hard, right? And you do that about 20 times. And you're going through, you're looking at your news feed by the list of sphere of influence. That's how you do this quickly. So you're only looking at the sphere of influence list on your Facebook feed. So then you can go through your sphere of influence very quickly and see the things that they've been posted. Those are the things you like. You like this post and you comment on them, and you can make a lot of light touches each day. Okay, so as we bring this to an end, people are asking all the time, are you a buyer's agent or are you a listing agent? And that's a big question. But what I would recommend is become a relationship agent. If you will build lots and lots of relationships, if you'll really, really care about people, what you're going to find is that your business will end up taking care of itself. And that's how you'll find gold in your sphere of influence. That's how you mine the gold from it. So that's all I've got. Have a terrific week in isolation. Go after your sphere of influence, build your database, and let's go out there and make some money. So, all right, have a great week.